What's up, folks, and welcome back for another review of Halo Episode 4 Homecoming. Terrell and I were here to break this episode down.
Yes,
This
yes.
is a very beautiful episode. I love just finally getting to see Arachnus in this entirety. You know what I asked for last episode? We got the Warthog, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, besides just the aesthetics, I thought going back into John's childhood was a beautiful thing as well. Too, Kai is out here living her best human life now that she removed her hormonal palette. So we got a lot of things kind of going on here, and I think it's very safe to say that Dr. Housley is absolutely way worse than Agatha Trunchbull, like without a doubt. Like, not even a question. She's terrible. And the more they talked about their childhood, the more John talked about his childhood and then how she was just there. And we all know there's something to that. But then all of the other Spartans and basically talking about what she did. And then we started to hear from Miranda in terms of how she definitely a cool episode. I want to start off before we get into our review by saying, like, folks, based on last week's review and based on the comments, if you don't like the show, it's perfectly fine. Don't come in here trying to ruin people's spirits and fun. If they like it, we like it. Let us do what we got to do.
Right.
Don't hate people because they disagree with you, but also don't try to be like, keyboard warriors, basically calling people not real Halo fans. I'm not even going to go down that route. I don't know how many times we got to hear that we're not real fans of this and that. And if you like the games, you'll read the comments, or if you like the show, you don't like the book, like all these sorts of different things. I'm not trying to hear all of that, folks. We're just here to talk about the series, have fun with it, provide you all entertainment, give you a platform for you to converse with in the comments, and just do what we do. So that's that. So let's jump into it now. So Terrell, what's your first thoughts about tonight's episode and where you want to kind of go around with this one?
Man, I thought, kind of leaving off from last episode, I thought I was gonna get some action tonight. And I feel like that's kind of they really slowed down that pace since episode 1, which is cool. I don't mind getting story.
Yeah.
But they find every excuse for my man John not to have that helmet on at all times. It's like I get actors like want to big actors like this wanting to show their face and
show his face. Gotta show his face.
Stuff like that with the mask on.
Yeah.
But yeah, mainly just I was expecting a little bit more. Like I said, I'm not, after playing those games and definitely being hinted at John's past and stuff like that. I'm glad we definitely get a little bit more of through tonight's episode. And like you said, it was just definitely beautifully shot. I don't know if this was on location or some type of somebody's garage, but it looked good.
Yeah. I actually haven't really even looked into the production as to how they're doing it, but I mean, like, whether it's green screen and inside of a studio or whether it's on some location, it's just beautiful. I really just find myself just scaling the backgrounds at all times, even with when Soren and Kwan was running through the marketplace, I was just looking around at things. And even the beginning scene when we seen the baby Spartans kind of running through that smoke, I thought that was like really aesthetically pleasing. So like they just do a lot of good things. It's safe to say that the budget, there's proof that there was a very pretty penny in bringing this to life. So yeah, we can just obviously talk about the cinematography for much more, but getting into the plot just a little bit here. Now we see Soren and Kwan. They go to what was it? What's the name of it?
Her home planet. Jeez, they said it like 8 times.
Yeah, Madagraw. Madagraw. And this is because her father. We know her father's gone. He's been slayed. They're gonna have a memorial, but the whole goal is not only to get funds for Soren because he is a pirate, but also because she is trying to get her father's troops. She's trying to build the resistance. I gotta say, when she picked up that weapon at the memorial, she kind of reminded me of when John Bodega, whatever his character name was, the first time he picked up the lightsaber in episode 7. He's kind of like, oh, what do I do with this? You know what I mean? And she definitely was like, and I think like that's kind of going to be the story, to the arc to her story, is that like she do want to make change, but she really isn't about that life just yet. She has caused more trouble than good. Rest in peace to her auntie, who got the only brutal death in this episode, and it's all her fault. Because understanding that, and when we think about this, her coming to the memorial, to the memorial, knowing that there's a bounty on her, if you were going to look for her, if there's one place you know she's going to show up, it's just like any other funeral. You always know that the family will be there, or court, whatever it may be. But if it is, and because no one knows where she's at, there's been whispers that she may be around in terms of the rebels. But in terms of everybody looking for her, where else would she be? And her being there definitely got what was supposed to be a peaceful memorial absolutely a little down and dirty. And beyond that, that just now put Adventure was fully aware that she's here, and I need to did this before this gets out of hand. So, it wasn't smart. And Soren knows that, like, yo, what are you gonna do? Because like we need to get this money in roll. Everyone, there's a bounty for you. It's very vivid everywhere you go. And then you go to the memorial, and you're not low key. You're letting the folks you need to see, and you want to see that you're here. And you can't blame her for that. But like, this now puts a target on everybody. What you've seen, that all of her folks, all the folks that made it from Outpost are here, and now some of them are dead because of you just showing up.
That was totally on her, man. That was also very selfish. You know what I mean? Because she felt like she was obligated to do something to help or whatever. And first of all, Soren knew he wasn't getting paid. He knew. Like at some point, like he was like, "Yo, you ain't got no money. Stop it." You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that was very selfish on her to, like, come back and put people in that position. Because they just try to make it. She accused the one lady of getting paid off and whatever. But everybody just trying to survive at this point. Like, yo, your father's not here to protect us. We what are we supposed to do? You got taken off planet. You seen as a traitor because you did whatever for the UNSC, so she was going to, but now you got a bounty on your head. So, like I said, I mean that like you said, that's totally on her, man. Her aunt's death is 100% on her.
Yeah,
what I mean? I'm not even gonna give her no benefit, no pass on that. That she shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, and that, like I said, the most and the only really brutal death of this episode, and they made sure, and it had to be done that way because now we have to kind of see. Sort of say the PTSD from this. He was obviously hurt from it, but it's totally on her. So like,
I mean, was the first episode not enough? You just see the Covenant come down and slay everybody.
Yeah.
And rest in peace to those guards. I mean, they got taken out Assassin's Creed style, with the sword. You know what I mean? Like that was just, like you said, it was just brutal.
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate. So I take that back when I say there was no action because it was a little exchange there.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool, man. But that's on her.
And yeah, kind of seeing those scenes when her dad went to go visit the Mystics. I wish we could have got that full blown exposed instead of it being dark, because that looked pretty cool. But yeah, it was a little bit, but not too much. And I think this was more of an episode of just understanding more about our characters, because I think from this point at now, her mental has to change. She can't be damsel in distress. She's going to have to operate with a form of guilt, but yet a form of revenge to the next degree. She already wanted to revenge her dad and for all of the folks that was slain at the outpost. Her aunt was the most loyal of all folks, as he said. And then the other lady who was supposed to be the next up obviously was like, "Nah, I'm good. We just trying to get protection from the Covenant, and we're trying to stay out the way." So like, there's a lot of resentment. Yet there should be some type of a form of vendetta in terms of Vanisher and Venture, excuse me, in all of this. And I think that hopefully we see her kind of transform. And like I said, that iconic moment of her picking up that weapon when she didn't kind of know what to do with it. Right. To see the transformation of her actually picking up a weapon and using it is where I think we're going with that. So
yeah, she owed a ship too, man. I guess I'm saying she just did not care. Like, it got that man ship taken. Like, how we gonna get out of here, man?
Yeah,
how we gonna get out of here?
And I know you couldn't wait to do the review because I know you were saying that you thought Soren was going to die. So I know this whole episode you were thinking like she was going to be the reason that it happened, right?
Because he was. I mean, it was hinted at. You know what I mean? Kind of like that last episode, and I still believe it's coming.
Yeah.
Because the way his wife kind of looked at him like, yo, don't leave, like this ain't for you. And here we are. We trapped on this planet. Now we got to deal with the government of this planet, or this one particular dictator that's taking over and making everybody's lives hell. So
yeah, what I think is that I don't think he dies, but I also think with him, escaping the Spartan program, I think we're going to get that sort of reunion again, where we got these hormonal humanized Spartans here, which pretty much aligns with him, where he's able to make their own decisions and whatnot. And I think with Miranda starting to see that you're different. Right. You're not like, something's off about you, which as we've seen, which is interesting because Kai was spying. We thought Kai was going to snitch.
I thought she was going to snitch. Yeah, she was.
Nah, she was like, "Yo, I need that too. I need that upgrade real quick." You know what I mean?
That's going to show. I think they're going to show that cost them some mistake in the field of battle. Like when they actually get out there, they're going to question something or whatever, and they're going to be like, "All right, maybe they'll want to get that back." But that whole emotion thing is there for a reason, so they don't question things. But maybe John will be the only one that leaves it out. But
it will be animal related too. Mark my words. It will be animal related. 100% will be some animal running across the field or something, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, puppy!" and whoops, so something crazy.
I thought it was interesting. Was it Commander Key's daughter? I can't think of her first name.
Miranda.
You said Miranda?
Miranda. Yep.
Yeah, Miranda Keys. She was having all the Spartans kind of like touch the artifact to see if they would get the same reaction that John had. And as we learn later in the episode, we see that John has some connection with another piece of whatever this is, the artifact. And this is the reason why it's kind of synced to him. You know what I mean? Like, so also see like her kind of relationship with the Spartans and kind of sort of being afraid of them, and just kind of them showing her like they are human, and having her use her as like kind of the audience. You know what I mean? Like we are human. We're not these machines. We're not monsters. We're just like you. So
yeah, I'm glad you brought this up because going through Kai, taking out the palette, coloring her hair, living her best life, doing what she does. She makes it very clear that she is now feeling things. She's seeing things, much like John did when he took his out and he was at the little whatever that was and whatnot, going down the stairs. And her first opportunity to talk to Dr. Key, she was she went kind of smack at her. She was just kind of like, yeah, we know you don't like us. You're very offhands with us. You treat us like, the black sheeps and whatnot. And I think what was interesting is, like you said, they was able to have a conversation and understand one another. And Dr. Keys kind of talked about, why she had to operate that way. And she really didn't understand why. That's why I kind of like when Kai was kind of spitting back, she didn't also spit back because she was just kind of like, okay, maybe I deserve that. Or it's actually interesting to kind of hear you actually speak for yourself. You know what I mean? So although it was like very, very, jumping the gun a little bit quick, too quick here in terms of this new BFF that friendship that they got here. They're holding secrets. They're saying we're sisters. The biggest thing to conclude here is that there's an understanding here, which we'll kind of see how this plays out in terms of their emotional attachment to one another. And it's not to say nothing romantically, but it's because there's never been a friendship. There's never been an acquaintance, an associate, and then the Spartans didn't have feelings. So for her now to understand that, like, hey, you're human, I have human feelings, we can actually learn from one another. Thus, this is where the whole secrecy thing comes about, where they said, like, hey, this sacred ring, they're decoding the covenant language together, which is big because they're using each other's experiences. And that's like a level of appreciation. Like, I understand where you come from, but I have been the closest to them. And they're understanding there's a ciphering code here. And that's where they first we get the first name drop of Halo this season. And finally. Finally. So now we're understanding why everybody's kind of coming up and drawing their own conclusions in terms of, oh, what does the Keystone do? Well, it seems to be a form of intelligence. and John has a form of intelligence, maybe this leads to a higher form of intelligence. And that's what's going on with Dr. Halsey and them. And then Miranda and them are kind of like, well, we need to see why John is so special. So we need to touch it, and you touch it, and we'll see how it reacts. And then you touch it, and then nothing's happening here. So what does this mean? Okay, cool. Well, there's clearly a link to this and like something much larger. And we need to figure out what the Covenant is after. What are they up to? And that's where they're coming at it. And it's kind of weird that there's not like a vast majority of conversation from everybody, but there's so many different initiatives going that eventually everybody's going to land in the same place because everybody's going in the right trajectory right now. So that's that. But
it's weird. I mean, like I feel like not to say like the Covenant they really haven't had that much screen time, if I'm being honest. Like because we really still don't know their goals and objectives, and we really only see it through the one character who's kind of like their human
spokesman.
Yeah.
Maki.
Yeah, and I feel like we're gonna get a lot of them like in the later half. And I feel like they spread out that budget, you know, because that's mainly CG. You know what I mean? Like they spread out that budget ever so slowly. But I mean, obviously, I don't think this artifact has any. It's not even covenant related to the point where they don't. I mean, they really don't even understand it 100%.
Yeah, yeah. And I was gonna say to your point, it's 9 episodes, so for us to be 4 in,
oh man,
not 5 is over the hump. So this is when we should start to see the crescendo leading us to the conclusion. And I think you're right about the budget. Maybe the Covenant is in mocap or whatnot, but it's still, you know, going to increase production in post, especially in post with it. But I think, yes, we are going to really much get, now that we got the knowledge of our backstory of our characters, the psychology of our characters, sort of the alliances amongst folks. Now we need to see the conflict, and the conflict is definitely, well, we know what the artifact is. We're going to understand what the connection with John is. We're going to understand why John is Master Chief and why John is special, and how does that play a part in everything. The UNCS, UNSC, UNC, whatever. We're gonna we're going to understand where their position is at with all of this. Venture, we now will see where he's playing his cards and whatnot, and his alliance and everything. So now it's time for some action, right?
Right, I hope so. I got a big question, and this episode really makes me question how old is Halsey? Like, yo, for you to be whatever when John was a boy, like he's like at least 35. You know what I mean? How, like, so we know that she can clone herself. And she's been successful at it. I wonder if this is this the original version of her, or she's somehow able to like keep herself young. And what is it? I mean, obviously she was trying to steer John the entire time, which is the big reason why she did, because she didn't want him to remember something that would eventually, you know, turn him away from the program or whatever. So like she was really there, like they can't kind of steer Cortana to like alter his memories and alter like what he was seeing. So that's the big question of like, what is it that she did? What is it that she did that she doesn't want him to know?
Right. And so when Cortana basically was like, I'm not projecting this anymore. He's tapping into parts of the brain now that's giving him these images. And to your point, Dr. Halsey was basically like, some of the things you may see may not be factual. But is it? Right. Or are you just trying to give yourself a get out of jail for free card in case he discovers, you know, certain things? And it's interesting because she says, like, I was there since you forever, and I care for you. I care for you then, care for you now. By the way, little John was a badass. His parents told him do not go as far as he did. My man went on a whole voyage and whatnot. His dad was just trying to drop some botany knowledge on him and just trying to keep him very wholesome. He out here living his best life with his pup out there. But yes, you're right. Dr. Halsey is definitely involved in some form of influence as to not only him in terms of the Spartan program, but there's something to his childhood that she is trying to suppress. Now we know she doesn't like glitches, any form of deviation. So unless he was centric into becoming a Spartan, there's something else that must have meant that he really didn't want to do. Did it have to do with his parents? Did it have to do with another career choice of some sorts? And I think that's like it's going to be something detrimental that will eventually have them to break trust with one another. Well, him with her, because not only and we see her, which is the weird thing about him, because she's been sidebarring the entire time, and us as the viewers are kind of like, bro, eavesdrop just a little bit because they're definitely getting that thing saying like, oh, he's learning more, but we don't want him to know more. You know what I mean? So, and the reason, obviously, folks, if you're not keeping up, the reason is because they need him to tap into his memories to find this other part. That's why they need, So like we see they ended up there, but like we've got to see where this goes beyond. Also, Cortana is still not fully unleashed.
She's still learning. She's still kind of being integrated. Like, and I just refuse to believe that Halsey been on this planet before. Did they completely miss this? Like they
unbelievable.
Because they said this planet was abandoned. I refuse to believe like, okay, y'all didn't check around resources, whatever. Yeah, it's no way. This big open
unbelievable.
Cave, nobody went in this cave. Nobody went in the cave.
Unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. But see, the only way that this makes sense is with his connection to this is where they're going to find some true answers. But it's absolutely unbelievable that they needed him to get to where there's at. The moment that he started to have memories of back of his home planet, and it has something to do with the Keystone, that automatically should have been like, yo, send some troops out there. Like, figure what's good with this. Like,
you think the UNS, like first, like episode 1, you think the UNSC knew that that Keystone was there like at first, or they were just there to completely fight off that distress, or I guess it really wasn't a distress call, but like to fight off the Covenant that was there on that I guess the village or whatever.
It wasn't the same plan. Oh, the first one, yes. Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
So I'm trying to figure out how they knew it was just complete coincidence.
Yeah.
Right.
We're gonna go complete coincidence.
Right. Okay.
We're gonna go complete coincidence.
I also have a theory. I think John's dad was UNSC too, and that's the reason why Halsey was there. He was working with UNSC.
Absolutely, because what person, in terms of any type of, and he's creating things. She got to love that, and she's there. That could be it too. That could be it. His dad must have deviated from plans, and well, we know she doesn't like deviation, and thus they took matters into their own hand. If they find out, if he found out that she was responsible for this,
right,
it's not good, So
that or they try to make that her son, but no, that wouldn't make sense. He's way too old.
Yeah, but the UNSC, man, there's gonna be some secrets uncovered. But like I said, that they're gonna use him right now to get what they want, because they're looking for a greater intelligence, a super weapon, and it's him now, and it's not him leading them to it. It's him being the one to be able to interact with it. I think that's where they know that he's the only one that can kind of unsolve.
They can't kill him. He's too vital to the project now. Can't stop him. His memories are vital to it. Yeah, so that's why Halsey's like, don't intervene in like whatever he's got going on, because it might be essential to learning how these artifacts work.
Yeah, and I think also when Cortana, I think after this, if they successfully get to a point, that's when they're going to make sure that Cortana could then be more. The goal would be for Cortana to be more controlling over his emotions, and then to kind of steer him back onto the narrow path of just being a Spartan, because he not only becomes too vital, but essential to everything they do. Right. So they can't have him going out here being bad boy, wild cowboy again, because hey, that again, deviation. She doesn't like human instincts and human nature and things. So, but yeah, I think with this episode, I'm not gonna say it was kind of slow, but it was definitely like a lot more into the building of these characters' psychology. We got a lot from Kai. We got the relationship between Kai and Miranda. And with John and all of this is and going back into his childhood, it's basically like self-discovery. He's just
Right.
learning things all over about himself, and going into his childhood. Let's not also forget that Cortana's also learning this as well too. So she's learning more about him, the connection to him, and I think that once she understands sort of Dr. Halsey's position in this, which we already seen her kind of trying to question it last episode, I think that's where the two of their bond grows, which also becomes a bit of issue, maybe conflict of issue.
Well,
For
don't
Dr.
forget, Cortana, is still a version of Halsey. It's still her. You know what I mean? With her memories from whatever. So, depending on how they want to play that, but it's Cortana is still another version of Dr. Halsey. So,
Yeah,
like I said, as she grows up and matures, she's going to start to have a conscience, and she's probably going to obviously rebel against Halsey and want to do certain things. So we'll see.
Yeah, and then recipe Aunt Sujin. I mean, it's just crazy. But it looks like that not only are they gonna have to get a ship again, well, Kwan is also probably gonna go get some answers from the Mystics because she didn't get the answer from her aunt. So we'll see what that means. I don't have a clue, but I hope she develops some combat because you are a liability out here. I mean, my man Soren, GTA dude on his motorcycle. Yeah, and let's be clear, Sworn is respected because they call him the pirate, and a lot of people don't attest to pirates to being like combat ready. I mean, he's not hiding, sort of say, but they understand that I guess we can kind of kind of equate him to Han Solo in the sense of like, yeah, this guy, he kind of does some things, but like he's also kind of connected, and he also is kind of self-sufficient. He can hold his own. I think that's kind of the parallel here.
Can he take that armor off or what? I was thinking that the whole time. Like, is he just permanently stuck in that? Do you need somebody to help remove that, or is that just? I feel like he can, but I don't know. Every time you see him, like he put a jacket over it. Like I was just like, all right, but can he take this off? Like,
hey man, protection, man. Yeah.
Right.
You never know what may come, especially when you rolling around with somebody that's just causing trouble for everybody. And
again, he knew he wasn't getting paid.
Venture got homegirl after her, and then he's just kind of like, and this is interesting. I will say this is my last thing, is that when they did mention that she's just a girl, that's why I think her art starts to get interesting, because I felt the same way. I'm like, she's not a threat, she's just a girl, she can't literally do anything, but it's the whole idea that how one person can really start a revolution. She could be that beacon of hope, and since there's so much attention as to where she's at, she's the son of the former leader, everybody clearly came out for the memorial. She may be the last bit of hope to happen. And I think, I keep making Star Wars references here, but she may end up being like Rey and just come back. Definitely not gonna be like Rey, because Rey inspired nobody. So, but she could be that beacon of hope to really try to change things around in terms of the rebellion. And then Venture obviously has a problem at that part. So there's that. So anything you want to add? Because I definitely talked a hell of a lot on this review.
Like I said, I mean, I'm hoping to, like I said, once we get into 5, hoping to get a little bit more action in this and see more Covenant. That's kind of where I want to see, like, but and see how Soren and Kwan get off this freaking planet. Because other than that, like I said, it's been a pretty good episode. Like I said, the scenery and everything was really good, but Halo is continuing to be a really, really good show, more than I had expected. So.
Yeah, Kwan has no army. They have no ship. They have no money. At this point,
no family now.
No family, no hope, if you ask me. But a lot of trouble behind them. John has all of his childhood in his memories reloaded. He is back at the with his drawings that he's able to make sense of. So they're back in the cave. There's going to be some things happening, and we got this whole monologue from Miranda about how bad of a person Dr. Halsey is, and well, I think that's just foreshadowing a turn of things to come, because if now you having people in prominent places of importance all understanding that, you have her, you're gonna have the Spartans, well, two of the 4, and all the ones that removed the hormonal chip are going to definitely make their own decision. And then you're going to have Cortana, who's at some point going to start making her own decisions as well too. because as much as she is AI, she's also, like you said, part human, which by part human, well, she's able to make decisions, and we've seen her and instating herself in certain situations. And John is this very proactive right now into understanding how these artifacts work, and there's going to be more more questions for these little bit of answers he's getting, because there's more to come. So, and give us more Maki, man. Next episode, bring her back like that in the Covenant. Let's get into it. Let's get the action. Let's get it going, folks. So I'm ready. Yeah. And I gotta say real quick, Burn Gorman, who plays Venture, he's fantastic. If you watch The Expanse, yeah, you already know what it is. So more of him as well. So that's gonna be interesting. So that's all I got. Anything else you want to add, sir?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, folks, hopefully you're still enjoying the show. And if it's not, that's okay. It's okay, as I said, but we're here each and every week with your Halo reviews, recap, after show, whatever you want to call it. Jump in the comments, let us know your thoughts about tonight's episode, and we'll be back next week for more coverage. Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
See you.